Good afternoon. Welcome back to Passionate World Talk Radio. In this episode of Scam DamNation, we're going to talk about the five biggest scams to look out for. Six. And this article is put out by the AARP, AARP.org. Passionate World Talk Radio Network, Passionate World Talk Radio.com/. Well, the more debt one carries, the more part you from your money. And it's now called the and tell you that their records show case $5,286 waiting in a relief check that is collected. And this is a real case. And this could be from a past relief program that was set up and you just never got around to it. But this is a foolproof way for them to solicit or elicit important information, financial, personal life. And over a 2-month period in 2025, complaints on this particular scam alone. When the economy gets tough, the scammers come out in droves. And you, as a consumer, are always looking for a way financial burdens. So, and this was put out by Velasquez, Valesquez, says of 2026, quote, so when you get a message that says, hey, apply here, just send us this information, not succumb to the influence to give it. Fraud is rampant, whether you want to believe it or not. Since 2020, the number of adults over the age of 60 and older, the loss of $10,000 or more from impostor scams, and it's contributed, doubled, tripled, quadrupled by 2024, according to the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC. Report losses of 10,000 or more jumped from 55 million to $445 million during that same period. And actually, the numbers are quite higher. And AI's growing ubiquity, meaning it's anonymous, will only worsen the problem in 2026. The sophistication level of AI will make it that much harder for people to discern legitimate from illegitimate, a real from a fake, she says. I hate to say this because I sound like such a cynic, but I encourage people to adopt a zero trust attitude. In other words, if you don't recognize the phone number on your phone, don't pick it up. If it's important enough, they will leave you a voice message. I know, that's what I do. Employment scams. U.S. employers laid off more than 1.17 million workers in 2025, the most since the pandemic in 2020. Because of that, quote, employment scams are making a big comeback, says the BBB spokesperson Melanie McGovern. And As a rough labor market extends into 2026, desperate job hunters may be more susceptible to fraud, including bogus jobs in online ads on social media and job search websites. And some scanners also impersonate real employment agencies and companies. Their goal is to obtain personal information or money by requiring you to pay a fee. So, what are some of the tips to staying safe? Never pay a fee. If you're required to pay money to get a job or an interview, it's a scam. It was true during the 1970s and 1980s, and it's still true today. Distrust big promises. Remember that adverb? If it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Well, the same thing applies here. Guarantees of great pay and few hours for a work from home job is probably too good to be true. Understand your job app risks. Reputable sites like LinkedIn and Indeed aren't immune to fake job posts. Scrutinize the source, which means check it out, make sure it's legit. If a recruiter contacts you, check the company's website and see if they're hiring for that particular position and if the person actually works there at all. It's easy to play at, and you don't want to be on the other end. Be careful when posting your resume. When you post it online, it's public, says Amy Nofziger, Nofziger, Senior Director of Victim Support with the AARP Fraud Watch Network. A criminal can use information to manipulate you. Recovery schemes or scams. Getting scammed is a terrible thing. I know from personal experience. And yes, it can happen to you, like breathing in and breathing out. Don't forget to breathe, Daniel. Well, don't forget that scammers are out after your money so they don't have to work for it. You do. That's their hook. So, what do you do? Getting rescammed a second time or a third time is worse. That's what happens with recovery scams. Criminals promise to help victims recoup their losses and charge fees for their non existent services. Something for you to understand. Nofziger says in 2026 she is going to see a lot more of these recovery scams, pointing to the continued growth of scams as a whole, particularly pig butchering or financial grooming scams. Criminals are usually based overseas, carefully foster an online relationship with the victim to create feelings of trust, then lure them into bogus cryptocurrency investments. Once victims realize that they're in the midst of a scam, they often tell the criminals that they're calling the police. And the criminals take note of this. They record every single conversation. Then follow up weeks later, posing as someone from law enforcement, as a consumer advocacy organization, a law firm, or a government agency. How do you stay safe? You watch for upfront fees. If they start asking a fee immediately and they start pressuring you, then you know, and they start asking you to pay with gift cards, cryptocurrency, wire transfers, or Venmo, you put the phone down. Block that number. Beware of phony checks. Scammers will sometimes send a counterfeit check, often for more than what you lost, the FTC notes, and then they'll say they overpaid and instruct you to return the balance. Yeah, I fell for that one too. I was caught by a police officer who was off duty at Walmart, and he took care of it for me. but you may not have an angel like that around when you're being scammed. Do your homework. Search the recovery firm's name using keywords such as scam, fraud, or complaint. Digital arrest. The process is terrifying. You receive a call saying that you're the subject of a criminal investigation. It might be a police officer charging you with money laundering, or maybe it's a custom official claiming they intercepted drugs en route to your home. Bogus law enforcement issues. Officers then interrogate you on video calls, not just for hours, folks, but for days, as they threaten you with criminal charges and pressures you to pay settlement or fines. It's a terrorist trick-based scam that involves holding a person digitally captive, says Frank McKenna, chief fraud strategist with Point Predictive in San Diego, California. They get you in a video call and they won't let you go. They'll basically transfer you from person to person to person. Digital arrest is an enormous problem in India that's starting to spread to the United States, McKenna says. In India, digital arrest scams and related cyber crimes nearly tripled from 2022 to 2024. The Indian government reported in March 2025. In September, a retired doctor in Hyderabad died from a heart attack after enduring a nearly 70 hours of digital arrest and constant video surveillance, India Today reported. Scammers use AI to create deep fake videos and forged documents, including court orders or arrest warrants, to deceive you, their victim, by making their threats appear more credible than they are, according to the ISACA, an Association for Information Systems / Information Technology Professionals. Unlike a romance scam where the criminals may spend months building a rapport with you, the scammers use intimidation and threats to steal your money. Such scare tactics are increasing and appearing in a growing number of scams. Fig Seeker says we're seeing a lot more overzealous threats to victims. Very aggressive. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your family. We've had victims who have gotten pictures of dead bodies and pictures of car accidents saying, this is what's going to happen to you. So what do? Hang up. Law enforcement states doesn't call people and threaten to arrest them, McKenna says. If you get a call like this, hang up. Remember how the system works. Court orders or arrest warrants are not delivered through phone calls, emails, or social media messages, the ISACA notes. Excuse me. Hello, pervert scams. Most scams aren't new. They're often old frauds that resurface with new twists. That's the case with the hello, pervert scam. Criminals email to say they've hacked your computer and recorded your visiting porn sites. If you don't pay them, they'll share evidence of your naughty behavior with your email contact list. To increase this pressure, scammers might include photos of your home to make you feel like you're being watched, and spoof your email address so it appears that the blackmailer is contacting you via your own email account, according to Malwarebytes, a cyber protection company. We've seen a spike in these. I know what you're doing on your computer kind of scam, says the AARP No-Fee Zieger. One possible reason is that Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Scammers often exploit subjects that dominate the news. And it might lead to bankruptcy. Such scams also tend to follow data breaches. The scammers obtain personal info, which makes the threat seem more legitimate. These are all highly personalized messages that scammers use to extort you based on information they find in data breaches. Please go over to our website, passionateworldtalkradio.com/blog. Article where we provide you to the AARP.org. They tell you how to protect yourself, what you can do to protect yourself, or protect scam is so, for what, how did they approach you, and how did you handle it? PWR Network LLC at gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening and enjoy the rest of 2025 and jump in with both feet to protect yourself with the many tips and suggestions I offer to you today from the AARP so you can protect yourself and keep your confidential information, personal, financial, insurance, doctor, the lists are endless, confidential. Have a great week and Happy New Year.